Shalom to you from oneforisrael.org. This week's Torah portion is called On the Mountain, and it consists of just over one chapter. It begins in Leviticus 25, verse 1, and goes to Leviticus 26, verse 2. Moses is continuing to spell out the law. He has already spoken about the Sabbath, and in last week's portion, he explained the festivals. We notice that God seems to like to use the number 7. Just as there are 7 days in each week, there are 7 festivals in each biblical year. The 3 most important festivals are found in the fall during the 7th month of the Jewish calendar. To see a list of all 7, go to Leviticus 23, which I like to call God's year-at-a-glance calendar. This week's Torah portion continues the theme of the sevens. When the children of Israel enter the land, they are to have a Sabbath year. As the text says in verses 3 and 4, "For 6 years you shall sow your field, and for 6 years you shall prune your vineyard and gather in its fruits. But in the 7th year there shall be a Sabbath of solemn rest for the land, a Sabbath to the Lord. You shall not sow your field or prune your vineyard." After 7 rounds of Sabbath years, or a total of 49 years, there would be one special year after that, the year of Jubilee. Leviticus 25:10 continues, "Then you shall sound the loud trumpet on the 10th day of the 7th month. On the day of atonement you shall sound the trumpet throughout all your land. And you shall consecrate the 50th year, and proclaim liberty throughout the land to all its inhabitants. It shall be a jubilee for you, when each of you shall return to his property, and each of you shall return to his clan." In ancient Israel, every 50 years was a year of jubilee. On a practical level, debts were settled in regards to the land and in regards to servants, but it also points ahead to a greater spiritual truth. First, notice that it begins on Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. To receive God's blessing, we must first recognize our own sin and receive His forgiveness. And just as God forgave us, we are in turn obligated to forgive others. We are not only obligated to do so, we are enabled to do so by God's might. Indeed, those who have been forgiven much will also rejoice much. The year of Jubilee was a time to proclaim liberty to the captives, both literally and figuratively. This, of course, reaches its greatest fulfillment in the Messiah. In Luke chapter 4, verses 18 and 19, Jesus said, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because He has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim liberty to the captives and recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty those who are oppressed, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor." Thankfully, we do not have to wait 50 years or even 7 years to be set free. The Messiah came to inaugurate the Jubilee. Please join us again next week for another installment of 5 Alive, wishing you God's shalom and Sabbath rest from oneforisrael.org, and don't forget to share.
Our ministry, One for Israel, is an initiative of native-born Israelis on the forefront of media and high-tech evangelism, boldly proclaiming salvation to Israel. Raising up leaders and equipping them with the tools they need to transform our communities. We also provide humanitarian aid to Holocaust survivors with the love of Yeshua. Join us as we share the gospel in Israel. Become One for Israel.